Hey Can-Am rider, congratulations on your new Can-Am Outlander Electric ATV, the first of its kind in the industry. This is your key to a totally new and unique way to experience the exciting world of Can-Am off-road vehicles. But before you go, you gotta know, this video contains important safety information. So take time to review it carefully before using your vehicle. Failure to do so may result in injury or even death. So let's get going. First, we'll cover the operator's requirements. Now, before using your vehicle, it's important to read and follow your operator's guide, which should be kept with your vehicle at all times. The perfect place to do this is from behind the handlebar. From here, you can easily locate, reach, and use all of the controls, because you must be able to use these controls properly when you need them. While you're there, you should also review all safety labels and safety messages on your digital display. BRP recommends that all operators ride the appropriate size of ATV according to their age. This Outlander Electric ATV is an adult-sized vehicle, and that means it should not be operated by anyone under the age of 16. But regardless of age, anyone who's not mature, responsible, or skilled enough to ride properly should not operate an ATV. Every ATV operator should get proper training and instruction by taking an approved safety riding course, available through local clubs or state and provincial associations. It's important to get familiar with how your vehicle handles first by practicing in a controlled setting. Anyone driving the vehicle must be able to sit with both feet on the footrests and both hands on the handlebar. Of course, avoid anything that could impair your ability to drive, like alcohol, drugs, or fatigue. It's no secret that drinking and driving don't mix, so just don't do it. Okay, with that said, let's move on to the pre-ride inspection. Don't forget, you need to inspect your vehicle before every ride to be sure it's in good condition. To help you out, there's a pre-ride inspection section in your operator's guide. A pre-ride inspection allows you to spot any areas of wear and tear before they become a problem. This should become a standard part of your ride preparation, just like you check the weather forecast. Be sure to fix any issues you might find. But remember, your electric Outlander contains high-voltage components that you should not tamper with in any way. These components should only be serviced by an authorized BRP service technician. The Outlander's electric high-voltage battery is monitored constantly to make sure everything is working properly. If not, a notification will appear in the digital display to let you know that something needs your attention. As an example, if the notification "electrical fault" is displayed, the vehicle should be inspected by an authorized BRP dealer as soon as possible and repaired by an authorized BRP dealer if required. In any circumstances, the vehicle should be parked or stored outside until an inspection has been completed. Learn more about the meaning of these potential notifications by reading the appropriate section in your operator's guide. If your vehicle is involved in a crash, the battery and other high-voltage components could be damaged. If you think this might be the case, once again, avoid any direct contact with these parts. Instead, stand clear of the vehicle and contact emergency services for help. All right, now it's time to gear up. Dressing yourself in quality protective gear is an important part of riding an open-air vehicle like your Outlander Electric ATV. In addition to keeping you comfortable, it also gives you some extra protection from the elements. And trust me, you are going to definitely appreciate both of these benefits. So here's the gear we recommend for both driver and passenger. First and foremost, an approved helmet to protect your head. Eyewear to protect your eyes from the wind and any flying objects. Closed-toe footwear with some sturdy over-the-ankle boots with non-slip soles. You're well protected, and you can keep your feet firmly planted on the footrests. Long pants to protect you from hot sun, cold temperatures, and vegetation. A long-sleeve shirt or jacket, and full-fingered gloves. These will protect your hands from the elements, as well as help protect your skin in the event of an accident. On long rides, it's a good idea to bring along some rain gear. A warm and dry rider is a lot more comfortable, alert, and happy than a cold and wet one. So, you ready to get rolling? One of the biggest differences between an electric vehicle and one with a combustion engine is that an electric vehicle is much quieter. So before you hit that accelerator, check carefully around your vehicle to make sure nothing's in your way. Then, if you see a green icon of a vehicle in the lower left corner of your gauge, your Outlander Electric ATV is ready to go. Now, maybe you want to bring someone along for the ride. And for that, of course, we need to talk about riding with a passenger. First, no matter the circumstances, you should never have a passenger on a one-up ATV. And never carry passengers in the cargo area. Carrying a passenger can change the way your Can-Am Electric ATV handles. Make sure you review and understand the information in your operator's guide before operating your ATV, especially if you've got a passenger on board. Anybody who might become a passenger on your 2-up also needs to watch this section and review all the safety labels on the vehicle to be sure they understand and respect the safest way to join in on the ride. To be sure they're in the correct position for proactive riding, your passenger must be able to sit upright on the vehicle with their feet placed firmly on the footboards and both hands on the passenger handholds. Your passenger must always hold onto the passenger grab handles and not the driver. They should also lean into turns with the driver. If you're a newer ATV driver or one who just doesn't have a lot of experience operating a 2-up ATV, you should not bring a passenger along until you've gained more experience. Your ATV may handle differently with a passenger on board, so let's talk about stability. When you're making sharp turns or side hilling, or once you're driving over obstacles or across steep hills, the stability of your ATV could be reduced, and there's a risk it could tip or roll over. That's even truer when you've got a passenger or other cargo on board, because it makes the ATV's center of gravity higher. So do not attempt any maneuvers that might be risky for you, your passenger, and/or any bystanders. Next up, turning. Turning is one of the most frequent causes of accidents. If you're going into a turn too fast or you're turning too sharp, your ATV can lose traction and put you at risk of tipping or rolling over. When you're approaching a turn, first reduce your speed. As you start heading into it, you'll feel like you're being pushed towards the outside of the curve. Shift your weight and lean into it. Then accelerate only after you start coming out of the turn. To shift your weight for a turn, move slightly forward and slide over to the side of the seat that is on the side of the turn. Use the inside footrest to support your body weight and lean into the turn. Now, pay attention to your ATV here. If the wheels start to slide or lift off the ground, slow down and make a wider turn. Tell your passenger to keep their eyes on the road. Be ready for a curve when they see one coming up and lean into it with you. Speaking of slowing down, it's time to talk about braking. When you want to slow down or stop, release the accelerator and apply the brake lever and the brake pedal at the same time. If the wheels lock, release the brakes briefly and then reapply. When you release the accelerator, you might find that the ATV slows down more quickly than expected. That's because, on an electric ATV, the motor sometimes acts like a brake and transfers some of the energy from the vehicle's motion back into charging the battery. So that's what you might be feeling. Now, that force from the motor can vary, and it might not be there at all. So don't ever count on that alone to slow you down. You always need to be ready to apply your brakes. You should know that, among other things, your braking distance is affected by the power unit, braking system and tire conditions, weather and terrain conditions, vehicle speed and altitude, as well as vehicle load, including towing. So make sure you adjust your driving accordingly. When you're approaching a turn, slow down first to avoid hard braking. Always keep both hands on the handlebars and your feet on the foot pegs when you're braking. While we're still in braking territory, let's look at the parking brake next. When you're not using your vehicle, always put your shifter in the park position and engage the parking brake. This is extra important when you're parking on a slope like a hill. If the angle is really steep and you're carrying cargo, use rocks or bricks to block the wheels for extra safety. Before you take off again, make sure the parking brake is disengaged. If you leave it on while you're riding, the braking system could be damaged. You could lose braking capacity, or it could even cause a fire. Forging right ahead, it's time to talk about reversing. Electric vehicles are very quiet. As a result, others around you may not be aware of your presence. So before reversing, make sure the coast is all clear. We recommend sitting on your ATV while reversing. Avoid standing up because your weight could shift forward against the accelerator and cause you to accelerate unexpectedly. When you're ready, press the start button and the reverse mode will automatically engage. You'll hear a beeping sound at the same time. Go slow and avoid sharp turns. Now, one of the many great things about your Outlander Electric ATV is its ability to carry cargo and haul a trailer. But when the racks are loaded, vehicle handling, stability, and braking distance are all affected. So proper loading and weight distribution are key. Never overload your vehicle and make sure you're towing or carrying your cargo properly. The cargo must be well secured and properly distributed on the racks before you operate the vehicle. You should also attach your cargo as low as possible on the racks to try and keep your center of gravity lower. Adjust your speed according to the terrain and avoid hills and rough terrain. You don't want to skid or slide. If you don't follow these recommendations, it could impact how your vehicle handles, which could lead to an accident. If you're hauling a trailer, put the shifter in low gear, reduce your speed, and turn gradually. Again, you should avoid rough terrain and hills, especially steep ones. Give yourself more braking distance, particularly if you're going downhill and if you've got a passenger on board. This is another time when you don't want to skid or slide. If your trailer isn't loaded properly, it may cause a loss of control. You've heard the word terrain a few times, so let's get into that next. Always avoid paved surfaces. Riding on them could seriously affect the handling and control of your vehicle, and it could even cause you to suddenly lose control. If you can't avoid driving on pavement, make sure to go slow and turn gradually. Driving on public roads poses risks such as collisions and may be illegal in your jurisdiction. Proceed with caution, only on roads and road segments where the use of your vehicle is permitted. The best place to ride your Can-Am Electric ATV is on soft, loose, unpaved surfaces. It's made to perform on these terrains. Try to avoid steep inclines. If you're not careful, you could tip over when you're going up or down hills. When you're driving uphill, you should drive straight uphill with your feet firmly on the footrests and your body weight shifted forward. Shift your ATV to lower gear and accelerate before you start to climb. Try to keep a steady speed and go easy on the accelerator lever to avoid accelerating. Side-hilling your ATV is one of the most dangerous types of riding and should be avoided wherever possible. If you can't avoid riding on the side of the hill, slow down, lean into the hill, transfer your body weight towards the hill, and keep your feet on the footrests. If you feel the vehicle start to tip over or slide sideways, steer downhill if possible. When you're riding on snow, stopping takes longer. Apply your brakes frequently to prevent ice and snow buildup. Well, that about wraps up all the important safety information we wanted to share with you before you head out on your amazing new Can-Am Outlander Electric ATV. Thanks for taking the time to watch. For more safety or training information, see your Can-Am dealer or visit our Can-Am website. Enjoy the one-of-a-kind ride, and welcome to the Can-Am family.